stream, because I don't know why the orientation went wrong a minute ago, but it has. So I'm going to just connect it.
You got it?
Yeah. I'm just going to connect to the gimbal. 1 second. And I can't even say. Right. Ah! This is hilarious. Okay.
Professional.
There we go.
Hey.
Ta-da! Wow, that was interesting. We're there.
We're here.
So apologies if you're now waiting on the stream that was advertised. Hopefully you'll find us here.
Yeah, well, if you are, don't stay there too long.
Sorry, it's just I don't know what went wrong there, but the orientation
Hopefully, there'll be a notification that we are live.
Yes, there should be a notification that we're live.
And it won't confuse people too much thinking, no, you're not.
They're not. So yeah, I don't know what went wrong there. We did everything nearly the same as yesterday. Hey, but we're back.
Andrew in the floating head.
Yeah, sorry.
It's not your fault, I'm sure.
So yeah, welcome. Hopefully you enjoyed yesterday's walk, a little half-hour immersive experience here in the woodland, just out, well, I guess halfway between, well, we're in the middle of Cinderford, Drybrook, Mitradine,
Yeah,
top of the plump.
there.
Yeah, top of the plump here. So yeah, for the next 30 minutes or so now, we're just going to have a wander around, sharing a quick introduction of what a forest bathing experience can be, and yeah, we'll share the woodland with you. Is there anything you want to share before we start?
Are we gonna start with the poem?
Yeah, we'll start with a poem, and I'm going to turn the screen around so you don't need to be kind of sharing, looking at us. You can look at this beautiful experience. I realised actually that. Do you want to talk about the threshold first?
Yeah, should we talk about the threshold?
And I point that out purely because, oh, hi there, hey, 2 people found us. Because we talk about finding, well, look at yesterday's live stream, we talk a lot more about the threshold. We look for a threshold to cross, and we've got a marker, and I'm pointing at it because also your coffee.
Yep.
Your coffee cup is on top of the marker to collect later when we leave. But we look for a threshold to cross into a woodland, and this is going to be our threshold, and when we cross that space, that line, that doorway, we're going to enter into liminal space. Anything more you want to say about that?
No, other than that, a threshold can be anything, can't it? So quite often it is a man-made gateway into the forest that we use out of a car park. Sometimes it's a little further into the woods and you find what appears to be a natural threshold between a couple of trees or a couple of other natural markers. Sometimes there's a ditch or a bridge, but it's quite a nice way of beginning a walk, isn't it? I think a lot of people just get out their cars and get their heads down and go. So I think a little tip actually, if you were going to go out walking this weekend, would be see if you can find some kind of threshold and consciously make an effort to leave behind what you think you know about life and what's going on in your life behind that, and enter into the woods with an open mind.
Yeah,
leave the expert. Makes a difference. Yeah,
leave the expert mind behind and go in with that childlike curiosity that what you see is you've seen it for the first time, and be really curious. So we'll enter in there. We're going to go through our threshold. And thank you very much for finding us on this live stream and not the scheduled one. Okay, so now we're here. And so we'll begin with a poem, just to share some words.
This one is called Time to Be Slow, by one of our favourites, John O'Donoghue. This is the time to be slow. Lie low to the wall until the bitter weather passes. Try as best you can not to let the wire brush of doubt scrape from your heart all sense of yourself and your hesitant light. If you remain generous, time will come good, and you will find your feet again on pastures of promise, where the air will be kind and blushed with beginning. Nice to have a little here. Look through the canopy. Just to test your filming skills.
Test the gimbal strength. This is what we've discussed.
As the camera lands on your face. But it's something we talk about on our forest bathing experiences, that actually we often don't look up.
No. And yeah, and it's interesting, we'll do this again in a moment, because there's these natural, for one of our fractal repeating patterns within the canopy, and gazing upon them can be such a relaxing experience. One of the invitations we offer groups or individuals when we're out is to find a tree, lean against it and look up, and just get lost in those fractal patterns that you observe. It would appear I've not put myself on silent either.
That's the wonderful sound of the mobile phone coming through there.
It's interesting that when you come out in spring and you see the fresh, it's almost like overnight the trees sneeze and the leaves appear. It's always an analogy I always think about. But there's always different seasons have different growth, and we can see, I mean, there's so much shooting up now. You've got the bracken coming through, but everything has its time, everything has its season. There's always something to discover. And I think we're just so blessed with that sunlight highlighting it so much. And we were talking yesterday about the Scots pine you see there in the background. I'm not quite sure if it's picking it up.
They're super curvy, this Scots pine up here.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I always think about them as almost like they're little bonsais on stilts.
Yes. Beautiful trees. Even the ones through there. It's like they all lost their way for a moment. And they caught themselves.
Yeah, there's one actually, it's got an amazing kind of like diversion halfway up, which just shows again in what we observe when we're out walking, and everything has a story, everything can be a metaphor for life, how we see nature adapt and overcome. It's a bit wet underfoot there. Such a mixture of trees here. The chestnut, the beech. There's lots of squirrels running around here playing as well. It's almost like we're going from room to room. We talked about that yesterday as the different environments you walk through in a woodland. It's almost sometimes you feel like you've crossed into a different room, whether it feels or looks different. There's so many different spaces here. So if you joined us yesterday, but for those who didn't, we were talking about, we were making the observations of what we saw. I'm just going to try and turn around now. We were talking about beech, as in the tree, but we were talking about the beech leaves. How to me they look like sheets of almost like corrugated iron in the pattern that they hold. And it's almost, they look quite firm. I mean, now they've took on quite a firm shape. They're holding their form, but they're still really delicate and soft, almost tissue paper like, but there's still strength within them. So this is one of the things we'll do when we come out walking, is we'll invite the participants to have that tactile experience as well in nature, and see how it relates to them. What story does it hold? How does it relate? What unfolds? Say anything about beech?
Hey, why did you have to pick the beech tree?
Why did I have to say the beech tree?
As in, what story unfolds when Andrew eats a beech tree?
Oh, okay, we weren't talking about eating the beech tree. I thought you might talk about myths and so fresh beech leaves. We'll go there again, shall we? Fresh beech leaves when they're really.
You're trying to impress.
No, that
wasn't.
No, that wasn't.
That was the pine.
That was pine. That was pine. We'll talk about another time. Yes, it is like this on a forest bathing experience.
Fresh beech tastes, I think, a little bit nutty.
And I think you've got to be a bit nutty to taste it.
Andrew hasn't had such a pleasant experience.
But I hasten to add, not like this in it when they're first coming out.
They're sort of soft and a bit fuzzy.
Yeah, and there's, I mean, I'm just trying to think. There's one just here where you can still see. For me, when they're coming out, they're like an unfurling, like the wings of a butterfly or a moth. They almost get released from a cocoon. And I think, this is what we can see the remnants of just here, hanging down. We see it's almost like decoration, but it's the remnants of what held the leaf in its form before it revealed itself and then just unfurled and then gained the strength in form and shape it has today. So yes, there. You can eat them at that time.
Queen of the forest.
Beech, yeah.
Beech is classified as a feminine energy, and she's associated with wisdom, with the origin of the word. I mispronounce this every time.
Boch.
Boch. Being the original name for the beech tree and also the name for book, because they used to use bits of beech to scribe on.
Hence its reference to or thought of being knowledgeable and wisdom. Yeah, and that root word for book.
She's a woman, of course she's wise.
And yeah, queen of the forest. And an oak being the king.
And having its origins in the word doir.
Oh, that's as in the oak.
Yeah, which was a reference to door, with oak being one of the preferred choices of wood for making strong things like doors.
And it's really interesting, as you say that, the door, and so Dartmoor used to be covered as in Dart and the River Dart. All these things, these words have got their origins related to oak. Oak would have been in and around that area. There's in forests of them, which just don't exist today. Which is interesting. So yeah, language and words on maps kind of give away the hidden history of a landscape.
Oh yeah, did you want to mention about the word Dean, as you've talked about?
Yeah, please.
So the origin of the word Dean and what Dean means, as in
Valleys.
valleys.
Yeah, so the forest of valleys. And yeah, we are. There's our landscape as you drive through. We are in and out of valleys, up and down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very up and down. much to my kids' disgust when we go out walking.
But there's some amazing viewpoints.
There are.
And one of the things we do, we talk about the history of the space that we're walking in. We share knowledge of the trees, whether it's from say ancient wisdoms, from Celtic history, folklore.
We've got a really lovely extended team as well who have lots of knowledge and skills around
Absolutely.
herbs and foraging and all that kind of stuff too. So there's always something new to learn.
Duncan and Kasia, if you're right there. And there's so much to experience. So if we come out forest bathing, it's a slow immersion through your senses. And we take lots of opportunity to pause. So we'll share poetry, we'll share stories, and we'll offer what we call invitations. And invitations because there's no insistence, it depends on your comfort level, but how we interact in nature, whether it's just pausing and listening for a moment, whether it's taking time to go and explore the texture on the leaves, the bark, to explore. We've got one of the things we have got around here, some amazing magical mossy woods. And sometimes it's the texture underfoot, that transition of going, say, from a pine needle covered floor where it's still bouncy and cushiony, but it's different again from going across a moss covered floor. That carpet of green.
Big chestnut trees right above your head.
Again, being accompanied by the bird song and the breeze that was just kind of.
I'm hoping that's coming through.
Oh yeah, maybe it's not. It's really into breeze. We've had people talk about. It's interesting hearing the wind approaching through a forest, through the canopy of the trees. You can get really, as I can do, get carried away. It's almost like a messenger. You can hear a messenger coming. And we've had people talk about how it sounds like a train coming through.
Or the sea.
The sea, yeah, but it's the sound of a breeze, passing through the leaves and the canopy is amazing.
Just wondering if we could do an invitation now. Hopefully the sound of the birds is coming through well. And I wonder actually if there's an invitation to either soften your gaze or just close your eyes wherever you are and just see what you can hear when you close your eyes. Maybe see if you can pick out sounds that are near, sounds that sound like they're further away.
There's so much out there, isn't there?
Yeah, if you gave that a go, just let us know how you found it.
Yeah, please do. Drop us a comment. Because there was so much in there. There was the different bird song. And again, being here, so we can see, I don't know if it's being picked up on the camera, there were birds flying through. There was wind coming through the canopy again. We talked yesterday, and for those who weren't with us yesterday, but we talked about how green, I mean, we're just in this sea of green. It really stands out for us, and green is in the middle of our visible spectrum, and we distinguish more shades of green than any other colour.
That lime green as well is such a healing colour. It's on the frequency that we associate with heart healing, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so much. I mean, there's so many studies. The being out, spending time in nature. It's all. I mean, it's so much evidence based. We know. We don't need to. We shouldn't need to kind of prove the fact that we feel good when we're in nature. And at the same time.
Oh, I feel like there's a word. There might be a word coming up soon for you.
I haven't. I could have put that in the moment.
One of your favourite words?
My favourite words. Yeah, my favourite words.
I love this. This looks like it's a doorway here. We've got that branch sweeping over and
forming. Yeah.
Crossing in front of the Scots pine there.
Oh, and that was another thing. Yesterday we were talking about I know we've mentioned Scots pine, but what we haven't mentioned is how the Scots pine is one of the most amazing trees we have here in the UK to be around on a warm day such as today. The aerosols, the gases that it gives off when we breathe them in really boost our immune system. There's something about there's no point in me going into the chemistry of it. There's an amazing lady called Diana Beresford-Kruger who we were lucky enough to be on a webinar with, who explained why here in where we are in the UK that it's more beneficial to be around a Scots pine here than it would be, say, in North America.
And that's the gases that the trees are giving off is their natural defense mechanism, but that's the thing that actually we're getting the benefit from, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So forest bathing, Shinrin-Yoku, bathing in the atmosphere of the forest, that's what it relates to. And what we're breathing in is, so maybe, the defense mechanisms of the forest, the plant life. When we breathe it in, it boosts our immune system. And there's so much out there saying it being evidence-based, how improves our immune system, our mood, blood pressure, and you can go on and on and on with the list.
There's basically 40 years of research now, isn't there, to come out of Japan, where they've medically intervened using forests. So they'll take blood pressure and they'll do actual blood samples before you go out into the forest and measure it all when you come back, and look at the effects and how long they last for once you come out of the forest as well. Which they're measurable for up to several days.
Well, 30 days.
After you've spent a couple of hours in the forest, so those effects last well after you come out of the forest too. But there's 40 years of research to show the benefits, the actual health benefits of giving yourself time to be in the forest.
And why it feels. So I'm going to crowbar this in now. The word biophilia.
I knew that was your moment.
The word biophilia, the word that describes how we innately feel comfortable and belong in nature, where the human population has spent more time in nature than as in the urban environment, which is why we see the colour green in the middle of our visible spectrum, because it would have been so important to us to know these things, to see these things, to distinguish, I guess, what's healthy, what's not healthy. But we would have been in and around green spaces. Yeah,
the analogy, which is one that I remember because really puts it into perspective is that actually if you took humanity and placed our timeline on a football pitch or American rugby pitch, that actually the time we've spent in what we consider to be modern society or civilization in that timeline, so on that pitch, would literally just be the last 2 centimetres of the touchline. And for the time we've been on this earth, the whole rest of the pitch would have been the time we've actually been a part of nature. And been out in it and lived in it and did everything we do in it. So it's no wonder really that we know it feels good when we go out to the forest or when we put our feet in the sand at the beach.
Yeah, and I guess that's an interesting thing to point out is, we're talking about here in Forest, and at the same time, it's wherever you are, whether it's a garden, whether it's a park, whether it's an arboretum, a bench by a lake. There's something special about being around water for sure, but it's find a space that you're comfortable in, even if it's if you don't find yourself in a park or it's not easily accessible. Perhaps have some headphones and listening to a soundscape and just closing your eyes and imagining yourself there. There's evidence based out there that using material, soundscapes, video, that they do have health benefits as well, and that's also why we've created some video content here on YouTube to aid people who can't get outdoors independently.
Yeah, so the research we talk about with the physical benefits of being out in the forest, there is research to show that even if you're not physically out in the forest, there are health benefits to be had from gazing upon a forest scene from wherever you are.
So I wonder if you want to share some that poem, that second poem we've got.
I know, we're just talking about how it feels innately good to be out in nature. I have a poem by Mary Oliver, which is called When I Am Among the Trees. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me the trees stir in their leaves, and call out, stay a while. The light flows from their branches, and they call again. It's simple, they say. And you too have come into this world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. We've got some favourite poems and poets, but sharing those words in a natural space kind of evokes, I don't know, meaning and messages that are, I think, unique to where each and every time you're out and about. So I think, again, time has flown and we've really just been a very short distance, which is when we do forest bathing experiences, when we do well-being experiences with the community. It's not about the distance travelled, but it's the time you spend where you are, through the invitations, through the conversations you have, through the stories you share. And I think that's what we do. That's what we look to do. Immerse ourselves through the experience we can have in a very short period of time.
And that's what makes it actually really accessible, because a lot of people couldn't go out and Nordic walk as quick as they can for 5, 6, 10 miles. This is about slowing right down, isn't it?
It really is. So yeah, here where we are in the Forst of Dean, we're lucky to be on a collaboration with the NHS and social prescribing. So every 2 weeks we run a nature and prescription walk with the community, which is free to access, and it's a great little community where people come in for their own reasons and it's a chance to slow down and a stroll through the woodland. And then
We can almost guarantee that if you come along to one of our walks, you'll leave having found a new appreciation for the forest.
absolutely, yeah, I think we can definitely say that 100%.
So many people say, well, I live in the Forst of Dean. I go out walking with my dog in the forest every day, and then they come on a forest bathing experience and realise that actually it's a completely different way of being. And it's nice to hear people say that actually it forever changes the way they look at the forest, and they'll walk differently from now on.
Yeah, and then the other thing is sometimes we have a couple arrive or two people arrive saying that I've come to enable or help so the other person can come. They wanted to, and then they tell us how they did not expect to experience what they experienced themselves, and then they become a regular member and attending too.
I mean, I'm not gonna cast any aspersions here, but quite often we find that men come along to support their ladies, and literally come along for that reason, thinking, well, I'll just come along and I'll be there for their partner, and it's often the men that have the profound insights into how amazing it can be to be in the forest.
Yeah, and it's amazing what conversations unfold, because as the observer in and around a space, what you see is your experience, and sometimes it can enable some sharing, which can be so powerful, and help you as an individual, or me as an individual, on our own journeys. Nature has always got a gift, I think, for us, if we can spend the time there to spend some time with it. So this has been part of a pilot that we've done with Barnwood Trust, with VAF, with other partners such as Forest Pathways, where we wanted to use digital to engage people in nature, specifically those who can't get it independently. And I hope you've enjoyed it, and please do comment or email us, let us know, because we'd like to do more. And if there's a need, if there's a want. So please, do comment, do share, do let us know what you thought of this. So yeah, we've just gone over the half hour again. So I'm just going to turn it around. Way, oh, there we are.
I am here.
We're there. I do need longer arms. He said this gimbal is just tracking away.
I just need some giant
whoa, there we go. Not that I'm trying to hog the limelight, honest. There we go.
It's terrible.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. We will be
doing some more of these.
We will do some more. There's going to be a bit of a break at the moment, but we'll do as much as if I'm out and about. Either of us, and hopefully
if you're new to us, it won't take you long to realise that Andrew does love the sound of his own voice.
Hey, what are you trying to say? to go back and look on Radio Gloucester this morning on Catch Up morning programme, 7:45.
So our own little camera whore will be back soon.
And on that note, we'll see you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.